Hello everyone, welcome back. In the last video we have discussed about uterus and the vagina. Now today we'll start with fallopian tubes and ovaries. Fallopian tube is also called as uterine tubes. Okay, so let's write something about fallopian tube. I'll tell you about the structure of the fallopian tube and functions, blood supply, lymphatics, everything I'll tell you in details. Okay, so coming to the fallopian tube. What are the fallopian tubes? These are the paired structure. Paired structure. Also you can write it as uterine tubes. Uterine tubes. Okay. Paired structure which is 10 centimeter long. Paired structure means 2 in number, 1 in each side. Okay. Which is 10 centimeter long. And each tube has 2 openings, one medial and one lateral. Medially it joins to the uterine cavity and laterally it opens to the peritoneal cavity. Okay, here the diameter is 1 mm and here laterally 6 mm. Fine. See the structure. This is the fallopian tube. See, this one is the uterus. Okay, this one here lies the uterus. This is the ovary. This is the ovarian ligament. This is the fallopian tube. This whole structure is the fallopian tube. Okay, so this is the one side. I'm showing here only the one side. Same structure that is present in the other side also. So what are the parts? See, this one is the interstitial portion. This one is the interstitial portion. Then lies the isthmus. Then the widest and longest is the ampulla, and here is the infundibulum, and this one is the fimbria. Okay, which collects the egg from ovary. Here is the ovary, so the eggs are collected by the fimbria. Fine, understood the parts of the fallopian tube. So let's write it down. Parts. First is intramural or interstitial. Interstitial part. If you draw it like this, I can draw the interstitial part like this. Why? I'm drawing it intentionally like this, the interstitial part. Why? Because this is the interstitial or intramural part which lies within the myometrium. This I'm drawing it intentionally like in circular manner. Why? Because it contains only the circular muscles. And no longitudinal muscle. So no longitudinal muscles. So why? What is the matter if only circular muscles are present? It acts as sphincter. Okay, anatomical sphincter. Fine. Then we can write it parts. First let's write the parts. Intramural, then what have we learned? Isthmus, ampulla, and then infundibulum. Let's write it. Then isthmus, then ampulla, and then infundibulum. I will tell you about all the structures in details. Okay, let's see here. This is the intramural part I've shown you. See, this one is the intramural part. So intramural, we can write it down. It is the narrowest. It is the narrowest part. How to remember the length I'm telling you? See, intramural, it is, the length is total. What is the total length? It is 10 centimeter. You can remember it like this. We'll divide it. Okay. See, this one is 1.25 centimeter. Infundibulum also 1.25 centimeter. Ampulla, it is the longest, that is 5 centimeter, and widest also. And this one is the isthmus. Remaining 5, 6, 7, 8, and this one 2 to 3 centimeter. Okay, got it? This one 1.5, this one infundibulum also 1.5, and ampulla is the widest, that is 5 centimeter, and the remaining isthmus 10 minus all of this, that is 2 to 3.5 centimeter. Okay, then intramural, it is the narrowest, and ampulla, what have I told, it is the widest. And so how to remember the diameter? See, this one is the narrowest, means 1 mm in diameter. Okay, and isthmus is the physiological sphincter. It is also called as the physiological sphincter. What is the importance of isthmus? I will tell you. And what is the importance of ampulla? Also, I will tell you. In which part the fertilization occurs? It is the ampulla where the fertilization occurs. Okay. See, then here infundibulum, it is 6 mm. Okay, and here it is the second narrowest. This one is the narrowest, and isthmus is the second narrowest part of fallopian tube. Okay, and let's again see that. Let's answer a question. See, structure where fertilization occurs. Fertilization occurs. What will you write? That is ampulla. Okay. Second, structure where most commonly ectopic occurs. Ectopic means the pregnancy that is outside the uterus. Okay, most commonly it is the tubal ectopic, and in the tubal ectopic, the most common site is the ampulla. Again, it's ampulla, and the structure most common site for tubectomy is which one? Is it ampulla? No, it is not ampulla, it is isthmus. Why? Because see, ampulla, it is the widest and longest. So how will you ligate that? It is difficult to ligate, it will slip. So in tubectomy, what are we doing? We are ligating the fallopian tube. Like this, we are ligating. So it is easy to ligate the isthmus because it is the narrowest, second narrowest part. So it is easy to ligate. But see, this one is, this is narrowest, so it is easy to ligate. But See, if this one, this is ampullate. So this is ampulla, this is widest. So if we ligate, it can slip. The suture will slip. So it is difficult. Fine. Okay. Moving to the next, let's see the structure of the fallopian tube. Structure of fallopian tube. Okay. So what are the structures from outside to inside? What are the structure? First, serous layer. Then second, muscular. Third, mucus. Mucus layer, it is lined by ciliated columnar epithelium. And there is a presence of unique cells. Unique cell that is present in the ciliated columnar epithelium, that is called as, I'll write it down, PEG cells. Okay. See, this one is the PEG cell. Okay. Now, first it is lined by ciliated columnar epithelium. So, what is the importance of ciliated? We are writing here ciliated columnar epithelium. What is the use? If it is ciliated, then it helps in transportation of zygote into the uterus. Okay, the ciliary movements, that the movement is directed towards the uterus. So it helps in transportation of the zygote into the uterus. Okay, and another cell that is present, it is the secretory cells in the mucus layer. Secretory cells. So what is the role of secretory cells? It secretes pyruvate. Okay, a substance called pyruvate. What is the role of pyruvate? It provides nutrition. The early developing fetus, it takes the nutrition from pyruvate. Okay, of fetus. Okay, clear? Understood? Moving to the next. What is the function of the fallopian tube? First function, I have told you, transportation of gametes. And second, it is facilitated fertilization. Okay, then what is the blood supply? Blood supply of the fallopian tube, it has got a dual supply. How? Just see. See, I am drawing it again for you. See, this is the fallopian tube. Okay, this one is the medial 2/3, and this is the lateral 1/3. The medial 2/3, see here uterus is present, so uterine artery is present here, so it supplies the, here uterine artery is present, so it supplies the blood to the fallopian tube. So the medial half is supplied by the uterine artery, medial 2/3, and here what? Ovary is present, so ovarian arteries are going to the ovary, so it supplies the lateral 1/3 of the fallopian tube. So it has got a dual blood supply, that is ovarian artery that supplies the lateral 1/3 of the fallopian tube, and uterine artery that supplies the medial 2/3 of the fallopian tube. Okay. Then next, coming to the lymphatics, lymphatic drainage, you have to remember that is the para-aortic lymph nodes. Para-aortic lymph nodes drain the fallopian tube. Okay. Then coming to the ovary. Ovary, this is the, it is ovary, it is also a part of the what? Internal, female internal genitalia, and this is the female gonads. Okay. So there are ovaries 2 in number. It is a paired sex gland in females. Okay, or female gonads. Ovary is the female gonads. Fine. Then it is a pair sex glands in females. It is also 2 in number. And what it does? What is the function? It helps in steroidogenesis. That means, what is steroidogenesis? It means production of hormones like LH and FSH that helps in maturation of the follicles as well as ovulation. Okay. And what is the second function? Steroidogenesis and germ cell maturation, that is formation of the secondary oocyte. Fine. Then this is the ovary. Okay, let me show you this image. Come to this image, I will show you, and let me write. See, just see this one. See, this one is the ovary. See, this is paired structure, that means 2 in number present in either side, that is left and right ovary. Okay, so it has got 2 borders. See, this is the, see, this is oval in shape and it is grayish white or pinkish gray. Grayish white or pinkish gray and shiny. Okay, the surface is very shiny. The ovarian surface, it is very shiny. And see, this one, this is present in both sides, that is, this one is the left and this one is the right ovary. It is present in both sides and it is oval in shape. So a oval structure, it will have what? This is the anterior border. Okay, this is the oval, this is the oval structure. Okay, so this one is the anterior border, upper border, and this one is the lower or posterior border. Okay, this is the anterior surface and this is the posterior surface. Okay, this one, see here, it is the anterior border here directed upwards. This is the posterior border. Okay, see, this one is the surface that lies medial or towards the uterus. This is the uterus, so it lies towards the uterus. So this is the medial surface, and lateral to it, this is the lateral surface. Here, this is the fallopian tube that connects ovary to the uterus. Okay, see, and this is the upper and lower pole of the ovary. So understood? There are 2 borders. One is anterior and posterior border. There are 2 surfaces, that is medial and lateral surface, and there are 2 poles, that is upper pole and lower pole. Okay, let's write it down here. the parts of ovary. Okay, let's write it down first. And let me write some more things about ovary. First, it is oval in shape, and pinkish grey in color. Pinkish grey in color, and it has two ends, two surfaces, and two borders. Okay, in parts I will write. And another one, it lies in ovarian. Ovary lies in ovarian fossa, also called as fossa of Walder. Fossa of Walder. Okay, see, I will show you everything. Parts, see this one, parts of ovary, that is, see, two ends, two borders, and two surfaces. I've told you, explained you, and shown you in the picture, in the image. I've shown you clearly. See, what are the two surfaces, what are the two borders, and what are the two ends, upper pole and lower pole, anterior border and posterior border, and two surfaces, that is medial and lateral. So, knowing the parts of the ovary, we can tell about the relation of the ovary also, like what are present, what are the structures that are associated with upper pole, what are the structures that are associated with the lower pole, and what are the structures that are present medial to the ovary, in the medial surface to the ovary and lateral surface to the ovary, and similarly the anterior and posterior border of the ovary. Okay, let's see this one, this image. I'll explain you, then after that you can yourself tell that what are the relations of the ovary. See, first it is the relation. See, what is this? This is the ovary. See, it is present here. This is the fallopian tube. Okay, and this is the broad ligament. See, this one is the broad ligament. This is the anterior leaf. Anteriorly, if this is the fallopian tube, then anteriorly it is the anterior leaf of the broad ligament, and posteriorly it is the posterior leaf of the broad ligament. Okay, and ovary is present. Okay, where is ovary present? Here it is present. So, see what are the structures anterior and what are the structures posterior. Okay, posteriorly there is presence of iliac vessels. What is this? Mesosalpinx. What is mesosalpinx? The structures, the part of the broad ligament that attaches the salpinx to the ovary. It is called as mesosalpinx. And the structures that is present between the part of the broad ligament that is present between ovary and salpinx. This is the mesoovarium and this is the mesometrium. Okay. These are the parts of the broad ligament. One is mesosalpinx, one is mesoovarium, and this is the mesometrium. Okay. See, what are these structures? These are the ovarian branches. See, this one is the ovarian branches. Okay. And this one, these are the ovarian branches. This is the ovarian artery. This. Okay. And then here, what is here? In the lower part, this is the uterine artery. See the uterine artery where it is present? See, it is present here. It gives two branches. One, the upper branches, which goes towards the uterus and ovary to make anastomosis with the ovarian artery. Okay. and it gives another branch to the cervix. Fine. See the see this one. Let me write it down for you. What are the structures related? First, present anterior to ovary and posterior to ovary, medial and lateral. Let me write it down, then I will show you, and again we will revise it so that you never forget the relations of the ovary. Okay, let me write it down first. Anteriorly there is present of mesoovarium. I will show you. Okay, mesoovarium. Then what is mesoovarium? It is the part of the broad ligament, posterior leaf of the broad ligament. Okay, this is a fold of peritoneum from posterior leaf of broad ligament. Okay, and it contains ovarian vessels and nerves. See, I will show you. See, this is the mesoovarium. See, this is the broad ligament, posterior leaf of the broad ligament. Okay, ovary is present. This one, it is present in the ovarian fossa. This below, behind this. Okay, behind this. See, this one is the ovarian fossa. Ovarian fossa. Above it lies the ovary, and anteriorly there is presence of posterior leaf of the broad ligament. Okay, which contains the, see this one, the ovarian vessels. Okay, then see the posterior. What is the posterior relation? Posteriorly it is free. That is presence of ovarian fossa. And also internal iliac vessels. See the internal iliac vessels posteriorly, as the ovary lies in the ovarian fossa. So it's obvious that posterior to ovary there is presence of ovarian fossa. This much you understood. We can write it down that in the posterior relation fossa of Walder is present, and as the broad ligament is totally anterior to the ovary, that means posterior to ovary there is no broad ligament, so it is free. We can write it is free. And also some part of the ampulla, I am showing it here, some part of the ampulla lies posterior to the posterior and upper part. Okay, see if this one is ovary, then the ampulla lies like this, posterior and above the ovary. Okay, like this. This is the ampulla. Okay, this is the ovary. And what are the structures that are present medial to the ovary? That is the fimbrial part. I've told you. And laterally the ovarian fossa. Okay, posterolaterally ovarian fossa, and medially the fimbrial part, superiorly and posteriorly is the ampulla, and anteriorly lies the mesoovarium or ovarian vessels. Okay, understood? Now let's come to the structure. See, coming to the structure, Ovary, it contains cortex and medulla. Okay, see what is cortex and what is medulla. See, this one is the cortex and here this is the medulla. What is cortex? The outer part is the cortex. See, this one is the cortex. It consists of stromal cells that condense and forms the outer layer of the ovary, and the outer layer which is condensed, it is called as tunica albuginea, or see, this one is the tunica albuginea, or this is the covering of the ovary, outer covering of the ovary, it is called as tunica albuginea. Okay, see this one here, and this is the cortex. It is divided, the ovarian stroma, it is divided into cortex, and this the middle part, it is called as the medulla, where all the blood vessels are present. The ovarian major blood vessels, that is the ovarian, mesovarium and blood vessels, it is present in the medulla. Okay, so in cortex what is present then? In the cortex, all the follicles, that is the structural part of the structural or functional part of the ovary, that is present in the cortex. Okay, so what are the follicles? See, this one is the primary follicle, then first primordial follicle, then primary follicle, then secondary follicle, then the Graafian follicle or the mature follicle with oocyte in it. Then when it degenerates or ovulation happens, then corpus luteum, this one, and then mature corpus luteum which secretes progesterone, and then when no fertilization occurs and there is withdrawal of progesterone or degeneration of the corpus luteum, then it forms corpus degenerating corpus luteum. It is also called as corpus albicans. Okay, this one is the corpus albicans, degenerating corpus luteum. Okay, understood? This one is the cortex. I am telling you again, listen, this is the cortex, this is the medulla. Outer surface, it is called as cortex, inner one, it is called the medulla. In outer part, there is presence of follicles. Okay, and in inner part, there is presence of ovarian blood vessels, and the outer covering of the ovary, it is called as tunica albuginea. Should remember this one. Okay, let's write it down here. Structure of ovary. See, outer cortex and inner medulla. Okay, it consists of loose connective tissue. What? Inner medulla consists of loose connective tissue and what have I told? And blood vessels. Nerves and constricted muscles. Okay, that is the inner medulla. And outer cortex. So outer cortex, I've told you that it consists of all the stromal cells. Okay, so outer cortex, it consists of stromal cells which are in the lateral aspect. Okay, lateral aspect, it is thickened to form tunica albuginea. Tunica albuginea. Okay. Next. So what happens in reproductive period? During reproductive period, cortex are studded with the follicles. So what are the types of follicles? Started with follicles. Which follicles? I've told you first. Primordial follicle. What is primordial follicle? Means only single layer of epithelium. Okay, only single layer. It is the primordial. Okay, primordial follicle. Then primary follicle. What do you mean by primary follicle? Means when there are 2 to 3 layers of like this, then another layer and or another layer. Okay, then this is called as the primary follicle. Then secondary follicle. Then the formation of oocyte in Graafian follicle. When antrum develops. Here antrum develops or fluid filled cavity within the. In secondary follicle there appears the granulosa cells. When the primary follicles are surrounded by the granulosa cells, then it is called as secondary follicle. And then when within the secondary follicle, when the fluid filled antrum is formed, it is called as the Graafian follicle or mature follicle. After that, the release of the antral fluid occurs and release of the secondary oocyte occurs during ovulation. Okay, see, granulosa cells come and it forms a secondary follicle. And when antrum develops or fluid filled antrum develops, this is called as Graafian follicle. See, I've shown in the picture. This is the antral fluid. Sorry. See, this one here. Antral fluid filled here. Okay. This one is the secondary follicle. Only little fluids are appearing, and here it is total fluid filled cavity. And this is called as Graafian follicle. After that during ovulation, this is the ovulated oocyte. The secondary oocyte is removed, and this one is the remaining part. Okay. Next also you can write about the corpus luteum and corpus albicans. These are also part of cortex. Okay. Corpus luteum, and when it degenerates due to withdrawal of the progesterone, as the fertilization has not occurred, so it is corpus albicans. Corpus albicans. Okay. Next, what is the blood supply and venous drainage? I'll tell you. See, ovarian artery, main blood supply to the ovary is the ovarian artery. That is a part of branch of abdominal aorta. Okay, and remaining. What about the venous drainage? The venous drainage is from the pampiniform plexus. Okay, first pampiniform plexus. It drains all the venous supply to the ovarian veins which drains into inferior vena cava, and then it drains to the left renal vein on left side. Okay, so this is about the ovary. Keep learning. Thank you.